I'll tell you a story now that I think is funny about Church Wilburn. He used to come through the country and he'd always stop at my folks' place and stay all night, and then he'd ride to Long Ridge the next day, which is another 30 miles. And so he came in there one time and he was riding a bay horse and it had a white eye. And so he told us kids, it was all there, all the kids was there, and he told us that it wasn't a white eye, it was a glass eye, that he had a glass eye put in that bay horse. And I knew differently, and we was all up in the barn looking, and I knew that he had 11 children of his own, church did, and he was just kidding is what he was doing. And then on the way down to the house, he already knew the answer to this, but he asked Edna how many girls there were in the family. And Edna told him that there was 10 girls counting the 2 boys. I picked up on that just instantly, and you know, it wouldn't be 15 minutes until church had asked her again. And Edna would tell him the same story, and I know the church went home chuckling over that one. He was quite a character, Church Wilburn. He was a fine man, you bet he was. When I was a young man, I used to buy booze for the Indians because there was a period of time in their lives that they couldn't buy booze. It was against the law to sell an Indian booze, but I could buy it when I was 16 years old and go give it to them. They'd give me the money, and I'd take it to them, and they were Tom Duncan and Church and different ones of them. Bill Hogan, all of them old timers would buy. I'd buy whiskey for them. I didn't drink the whiskey. I never took a drop in those days, but I've made up for that since.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know. But anyway, that one came to mind about talking about Church Wilburn. Hi there, Howard.
Andy, about that road, Phyllis. I looked at my mother's diaries that she kept all the years, and I would be willing to bet they spent 20% of their time maintaining that road in the years that followed. Every winter, you know, something would wash out.
Yeah.
Every night in the spring after school, my dad would meet me with the little road grader that he and Harry bought.
Yeah.
And we'd do a little section of road.
Oh, yeah.
One night we'd do the ditch, and then the next night we'd do the next little piece, and then the next night we'd do the rest. And that was what we did every night.
Well, what, with a pole grader?
It was a little pole grader, and Harry, do you remember that? Do you remember that grader that you and my dad bought? The road grader?
Yeah.
The little pole grader? Went out on Island Mountain somewhere and got it, didn't you?
All right.
Did you get it out on Island Mountain? I can't remember where we got it. But I do remember when we first got it, he and Harry were working on the road. Dad was driving the tractor, and Harry was running the grader because he had to spin the wheels and do all the turns with it.
You were doing the technical job there.
Well, they down, and my dad backed it up under an oak tree and stopped, and he heard Harry hollering, and he backed it up on top of a rattlesnake. And this snake was just about to get Harry by the leg, and when he hollered, my dad stopped to see what was going on instead of moving so he could get out of there. And Harry climbed up on top of the grader to get away from the snake. But I remember my dad telling that story because he thought it was pretty funny. He wasn't the one back there with the snake.
Yeah, he was a funny man, your father, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
he was a great person. You bet.
Yeah, we got a lot of pictures. There's a lot of nice pictures of John there in that book that they made there in Covelo. You know, that book that you sent me there. Yeah. It shows John there quite a bit. Well, your dad worked for royalty there, didn't he? Yeah. And your grandfather did too. Yeah, he worked for. Dick Patton worked there. Then he worked quite a bit in Covelo itself, wasn't he? And then he went down on the other place.
Well, that was quite a job building that road in there, but you know, I knew I could do it, and it didn't take long, but your dad said he had to build it 3 or 4 times after that. because like you say, it just kept, it was around there every gulches and gulches and gulches. Harry ran the cat down there a while one day on that job. That was a long time ago. You remember that, Harry Moody?
Yeah.
You do.
I remember every day I run the cat, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Now I got that wheel tractor. I'm afraid to get on it.
Is that right?
Yeah, we got a lawnmower, new lawnmower, and I'm afraid to get on it.
Is that right?
I'm scared of machinery.
Yeah, well.
I drove the pickup up over the top of the hill and come down over Oak Flat a day or two ago, and that's the first time I've driven for 10 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah. I made it fine, so I'm going to do it again now.
Yeah.
I got to the point I didn't think I could handle it.
Yeah.
This man, Harry Moody here, was my idol when I was a kid, because I was always a cowboy, and he was too, and he had a saddle that had a rattlesnake hide wrapped around the cantle of his saddle. And I just thought that was real cool, let's put it that way. I thought that was something else, and he gave it away over some woman or something. I don't know what become of the saddle.
Well, Harry had lots of women then. You know
It
what I mean?
disappeared.
It could have been any one of them.
I didn't hear it all.
Harry, we gotta find out what happened to it.
Yeah.
What happened to what?
The saddle that had the rattlesnake hide on the cantle of the saddle.
I think John Rice got it.
Yeah, well,
Not
he's
this
just saying that. See, so some woman he had got it.
You know, I'll tell you a story that's a true one.
Okay.
When my dad got hurt, they took his watch in the hospital,
Yeah,
and it was a Illinois Bun Special,
yeah.
21 jewel lever set. Well, I had a watch that was a Hamilton, 21 jewel, that was a lever set. So the watch, my brother got the watch. My mother gave him the watch, but she thought it was my dad's watch. Turned out it was my watch. Didn't know that, I guess, for 30 years. And finally I got to saying, wonder where my watch is. And Elva always said, you gave that to some girl. I says, no, I never went with a girl worth that much. So that stopped that argument. But anyhow, I just discovered here 4 or 5 years ago that he gave it to Ralph's kid.
Oh, I see.
And I just discovered that was my
Hello.
watch.
Thank you.